Whoa. I don't know why we started over there. That's fun. Hey, welcome everybody. It's time for Garage Beers. Welcome on into episode 200. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, it says 197. It's 297
Good
of the
God,
Garage
man.
Beers podcast. I'm bad at math. What do you want me to do? Counting. Not my strong suit. Welcome on into episode 297 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. The Orange and Brown Report, I say it every week. It's the oldest, largest independent Brown coverage site in all of Cleveland. So if you're not subscribed to the OBR.com, you got to remember something. If you're a Browns fan, this is Super Bowl time for the Browns, but not that kind of Super Bowl.
Not for another 2 months.
Not that kind of Super Bowl, but like, what do you mean not for another 2 months? We're in coach search, baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the draft happens every year. The coach search only happens every, 6 or 7 years.
3, 4, 6, 7, 1. It does 6, 7. That's why it's the Super Bowl. You don't go to that every year, Chad.
But there is a Super Bowl every year, so
that's fair. It's a good point. This is the time you want to be subscribed to the OBR when there's news, when there's rumors, when you're trying to figure out what the hell this team is going to do moving forward, and there's no better place for you to follow it than the OBR. So check out the QR code above my head, click on it, or I don't know, you don't click on a QR code. I say that all the time. You take a picture of it, you click on the little thing, you go over there, you get subscribed to the OBR, and that is where you can get the best Browns coverage out there. And I will tell you, I love being a part of the OBR community online at theobr.com, the message boards, the Ask the Insiders, the Rumor Central, all that stuff is great. So you get all that as a member of the OBR. Also, watching us here on whether it's YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook, whatever, just make sure you hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you do that on our page as well at the Garage Beers everywhere. All right, there's all the intros.
OnlyFans, whatever.
Yeah, Chad's going to start doing feet pics.
Damn right. Damn right. If that makes us some money, let's go.
We're buying a new car, baby. Daddy's putting out his feet pics.
Woohoo! 2026 Toyota Corolla, here I come.
I love it. Hey, listen, we got a great show tonight. With you as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe, joining me over on the east side of Cleveland. I think in the garage. Looks like in the garage, back in the garage. Love this for us. It's Chad Meyer. Our third guy, Joey, not able to be here tonight. Work considerations. I think, Chad, you've got the same thing next week. But we're barreling towards episode 300. Again, ignore the title. This is not episode 197. It's episode 297. But we are barreling towards episode 300, and we've got a great one here. Chad, what's going on, man? How's life?
Nothing. You know what? I thought it would be actually miserable in the garage, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all out here. I might have to do this more often since I've basically been kicked out of house and home as far as winter podcast stations go. But this isn't so bad. So I think future winter podcasts will be done out here.
You used to do it in there, didn't you?
I did it every now and then. And then, I realized, why don't I just do it on the porch? Because why just stay in the garage? Why don't I go be comfortable sitting at a chair with the TV in front of me
right
on the porch?
Now you have to tell the wife that you need a garage TV.
Yeah, if I'm winter garage beers, Chad, then let's in the garage here. Let's get a TV out here. Fuck it.
I think I've got my room here, so obviously I do it from down here, but I think I'm going to start doing a couple from the garage too. Come on. It's only fair that we hit the garage every once in a while, being the Garage Beers podcast.
It is a nice night, right? When you can open the garage door, feel the breeze come in.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Listen, again, humongous show for you tonight. Chad and I are going to spend the first half hour or so on the show chatting about just kind of our first couple topics. Then 9:30 or right around 9:30, we are going to have our special guest come in, Matt Fontana. We've had him on before. Really good guy. Does a great job just talking sports. He does it on Big Play now. You may have heard him on the radio stations around town and all that, but he's the host of the Matt Fontana Show on Big Play. We're going to have him in. And really the thought process was we wanted somebody that could talk about a couple of our favorite teams because they've got similar things going on. But it's It's the Browns and the Blue Jackets, and it's not easy to find people that talk about both the Browns and the Blue Jackets. Matt Fontana is one of them. So he's going to come on and do that with us. Plus, we're going to talk about, there's been some drama. We got drama with the Browns. We got drama with the Cavs. The Guardians do they even exist at this point?
Mm-mm.
So we're going to get in to all that over the next hour and a half or so. So we're glad you're here. Get in the comments like all of our friends already. Look at Drew in Brick City. It's like, I've already had a handful of beers. Well, what do you have after you have a handful of beers? Another handful of beers.
Another handful of beers.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. What's up? Chris says, hey, let's see. I love this. Aaron Wood. I don't know if I've seen Aaron Wood in here. Says appreciate the coverage. Let's go, Aaron Wood. Welcome in. And our buddy Joe Mannix watching Garage Beers with a Treehouse King machine. Let's go. If you're
a Cavs fan, you're going to need about 5 to 7 to 12 more of them. Darius Garland just injured his other foot.
Oh, well,
and he's out for the game.
Okay. Sean, we'll talk about that later. Sean, evening, boys. Evening, Sean.
What up?
Chris says the cold's coming, Chad. It's very cold now. Dropped from 42 to 21. I don't know about you, Chad. Our school district, I got literally the reason I'm like scrambling to start this show, like 10 minutes before we went on, I got a phone call. North Ridgeville school's canceled tomorrow.
I'm 100% expecting school to be canceled at some point tomorrow for my kids too. So, but I still have to get up before 4 o'clock to try to make the trek to work tomorrow. So yay.
Hooray, you.
Yay, me.
You're gonna do it.
I'm gonna die.
You're gonna do it. All right. Well, Chad, listen, before look at Pat Shea. Hey, Pat Shea. It's not Pat Shea, California. It's Pat Shea. It's 57 degrees in Sacramento. Pat Shea, listen.
Son of a bitch.
Pat Shea, for a lot of reasons, I've talked about it on the show, is one of my, no offense to everybody else, but just one of my favorites. A very good heart on Pat Shea. I think anybody that's been around long enough knows it. And I got to experience it firsthand when we did the whole fundraising thing for my wife's cousin who lost her husband. And Pat Shea was unbelievable in that. And he's done a lot of other great things. But I'm still going to give you a little bit of shit. Of all the places you could live in California, Sacramento?
Sacktown.
What are you, the governor?
Oh, he might be. You never know.
Who's in Sacramento?
Oh, Pat Shea does.
Pat Shea, Peja Stojakovic.
Yeah.
He probably still doesn't live.
Yeah. You go to Kings games, Pat Shea? You go to Kings games?
All right, that's fair. Affordable like Cleveland. That's fine. That's fair.
All right.
Phil says great lighting, and I don't know whether he's talking about me because I do have great lighting, or I don't know whether he's talking about backlit Chad over there.
Yeah,
just straight backlit Chad.
I'm going into that light as soon as this broadcast is over.
Nobody, Chad, don't go towards the light. Don't go towards the light.
Yeah.
Listen, like I said, we'll get in. We've got a great episode coming up. It's only about 15 minutes now that we're gonna have our special guest Matt Fontana in, or whenever he shows up. He said around 9:30 because he was busy, but he's taking the time out of his busy day to hang out with us, so we appreciate that. But why don't we get things going the right way? We've already had some people doing it. Look at Chris, Captain Morgan Cinnamon. That sounds delicious, actually. I like cinnamon things. Sounds delicious.
Oh, it's like a fireball.
Why don't we start with our garage beers of the week? So, Chad, garage beers in the garage. What are you drinking?
It's a pumpkin beer left over.
That makes so much sense.
Sam Adams Jack-o'-lantern pumpkin ale. Here we go. It's just in the fridge.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You've heard of Christmas in July. Well, welcome to Thanksgiving in January.
Halloween in January.
Hello.
Halloween in a blizzard.
How's the pumpkin beer hit in January? How's it hitting?
It's smooth. It's so good. It's really tasty. Perfect hint of pumpkin in that Sam Adams Jack-o'-lantern beer. And yeah, it's going to make me forget about out there. What's going on out there right now?
Hey, that's always good. I stopped in and I think it's just called the Convenient Mart. There's a store. If you spend any time in Bay Village, if you live in Bay Village, West Side, you probably know exactly the store I'm talking about. I don't even know what street it's on. It's on like the side street off of Dover Center, like kind of downtown Bay Village by where Mally's used to be and all that. Well, anyways, there's like a little convenience store right there. and I think it's called the Convenient Mart, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa.
And you wouldn't
Creative.
you wouldn't you would stop in there thinking you're going to like your most standard convenience store ever, except for whoever owns that place takes just tremendous pride in the kind of beers that they sell. It's amazing.
No, okay.
Gigantor beer cooler, and they sell like great ones that are like kind of hard to get at other places.
Whoa.
So I stopped in there today, and you know what? Like, we're going to spend a minute, like a little bit later in the show, we'll spend a minute talking basketball. You talked about Darius Garland. The Cavs are still up by like 30 in the fourth quarter, so that's nice. But I got this one from Other Half Brewing, which I've had on the show before. It's out of Washington, D.C., Other Half Brewing, and this is called Dunk Juice. Dunk Juice. It almost sounds gross, to be honest.
Say it again.
Dunk Juice. Almost sounds a little bit gross, but it's not. It is a double dry hopped IPA. You know, that's my favorite kind.
Looks chunky at the top.
I was holding I had my Garage Beers cup down here somewhere, and it has disappeared. So I just grabbed a Cleveland cup, and I'm drinking Dunk Juice. So Chad, cheers to you, buddy. Cheers to all of you guys. Drew drank a handful. I'm sure that's just Bush Heavies, and now he's Dewars and soda.
Let's go.
Drew, are you 200 years old? Who's drinking Dewars and soda?
After this, I'm going to bust out the Strohs.
Oh my Lord. Oh my God. This beer is so good.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a top level beer.
Okay.
If you're at the store and you see Other Half Dunk Juice, buy it. You're not going to hate it. You're not going to hate it.
All right.
Anyways, those are our Garage Beers of the week. You keep telling us yours if you're in the comments. Or again, you don't always have to watch us live, even though we like having you here. The comments are already going. This is awesome. But you know what I realized? It took us a long time. It's not that I just realized this. But we have so many people that make this awesome community of doing the show live, and especially the commenters that are here live every week. This whole group of people that just come hang out with us every week, which is awesome. But I always forget that some people, like with some people on Twitch and some people on YouTube, they can't see their own comments. And I feel like Pat Shea would just be friends with I think Pat Shea would fit right in with like Chris and Joe and this group over here on YouTube. But Pat Shea's over there on Twitch. Serge, our buddy Serge. Serge has been with us.
Where the hell have you been?
Serge has been hanging out with us for years.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
I feel like Serge would get along with and I feel like these people would get along with you guys all get along. I'll just try to keep things going with the comments so you guys can see what each other are doing here, because it's a family here. I
can't believe one person watches us live, let alone, anybody like 15, 20, whatever we get the commenters. Wait, what's
Serge, fuck yes. This is my favorite comment of all time. Serge, best comment. I got to read it because if you're listening to it, you're going to get confused. Serge in the comments says, I'm not drinking as I wanted to lose 10 pounds or so to start the year. And after a week, I'm only 13 pounds away.
Let's go. All right.
Bam.
Progress, not perfection. You're amazing,
baby.
Serge.
You're amazing. Mass, baby. Muscle mass. Serge also about to congratulate us for 200 episodes, but that's my fault because when I made this episode, I put episode 197, and this is episode 297. So
you have to forgive Mike. He's a giant dipshit.
You're going to want to get ready for episode 300 though, because it's going to be good. I've been emailing with Cleveland Indians / Guardians legend favorite former player that I think you guys are going to want to hear. We've been combing the ranks of basketball legends that have played here in Cleveland. We may even have some Olympics things on the horizon. So episode 300 is going to be spectacular, and it's coming February 4th. So you're going to want to be a part of it. You're going to want to be a part of it.
Outstanding. It's going to be outstanding.
Outstanding. Just like you're out upright in the field. You're outstanding.
Oh God.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. So let's dive into episode 297 and let's do this. Let's start by talking a little football. Because when Matt gets here, we're going to want to dive into the coaching thing. So we're going to, the coaching thing, give us like 10 minutes or so, because I know that's the thing that's tops on everybody's mind. But let's go to the Cleveland Browns. And we obviously know how the season ended.
Mm-hmm.
But now we get to look ahead and start thinking about the way this offseason is kind of coming together for the Cleveland Browns and what that's going to mean. And when we talk about it, obviously they got to get the coaching staff in place first, but
Right.
that coaching staff is then going to have, along with Andrew Berry, the task of just building this. I won't even say rebuilding the offense, because rebuilding suggests building again, and it wasn't built to begin with. So I think a couple interesting things have happened this offseason. One, the Browns win those last two games, and I've talked about this before, Chad, but I'll reiterate. And especially after the events of today, I love that the Browns have the 6th pick.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I'm really glad they don't have like the 4th pick or the 3rd pick, where they would be maybe too tempted to reach for a quarterback because you kind of have to. Because after the events of today, with Dante Moore going back to Oregon, I was stunned by that announcement.
Really?
I thought he was guaranteed to be the 2nd or 3rd pick of the draft.
I mean, yeah, he was, but he doesn't want to be a New York Jet. And reports were swirling that he was going to stay to begin with, even before the playoff began.
Yeah, but I think we've seen it. I mean, shit, Chad. I also thought the events of this year in college football were going to make an impact.
Mm-hmm.
We went into this year talking about Nussmeier and Drew Aller and
Sure.
Who else? Who else was on that list? Klubnik and like, oh, these are going to be the top picks in the draft, and we're not talking about any of them.
Yeah,
any of them. We're talking about none of them.
Right.
We were talking about all those guys. We were talking about this year potentially having 5-6 quarterbacks going in the first round.
Yeah,
and I think I got one dude that I think should be a first round quarterback this year.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're not going to get Fernando Mendoza. If I was the Las Vegas Raiders, you could offer me your next 3 drafts and I wouldn't take it for this pick.
For sure.
It is a surefire, like, easy pick for them. So after the events of today, yeah, I was surprised by Dante Moore. Because again, and here's the other thing. You're also talking about what we are expecting. And I know we expected it last year. We expected this to be a deeper quarterback draft. But next year, now we're talking about Arch Manning, and we're talking about, Sellers, and we got a whole group of guys that we're going to be talking about coming out next year. And so now Dante Moore throws his name into that ring, and I think it's, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was. I always hate he doesn't want to go to the Jets. What do you think? You're going to go to a good team next year?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think there's, if this makes any sense, I think there's bad teams with better situations. So I think you can be a little bit more picky and choosy when it comes to the top of the draft. But I also think this goes back to something I said long ago when this whole NIL process began. I said, I think you're going to start to see guys stay more, because if you don't like the situation you might end up in, why not go back to school, see if you can win a national title, right?
You're making money.
And you're making money. I mean, shit, there were $6 million offers for some quarterbacks to stay. There were reports Ty Simpson got offered $6 million from Miami. So, I mean, I know that, but like, if you're going to get offered that money as opposed to going and playing quarterback for the New York Jets and sucking ass for a while, why not go try to win a title and make millions before you go make millions? So I think you're going to start to see more and more of that as the years go by with this whole deal. But it was surprised. Am I surprised? Sorta. But I'm also not surprised in that it's like, okay, I get it. I get it.
But yeah, okay. But to go back to my original point then, of I kind of like where the Browns are at as far as going into the draft and all that.
Sure.
The 6th pick, now, especially now, you're not going to be tempted. There's no quarterback. I swear to God.
Absolutely not.
I swear to God, if you take any quarterback in this draft at 6, I'm going to lose my mind. If you use either one of those first round picks on a quarterback, I'm going to lose my mind. There's none worth it. None, not one. None worth it.
Nope.
You want to try to sell me on Trinidad Chambliss in the 4th? You want to try to sell me on Drew Aller in the 5th as a pro? Yeah, okay. I'll dive into that all day long. But dude, I swear to God, you better not in that first round.
Nope.
So I like it. I also think you're in the sweet spot because there are some kick-ass defensive players in this draft. Caleb Downs is coming out, and Arvell Reese, and Ruben Bain is coming out, and these guys are going to be top-level players taken, and I don't want any of them.
No, me neither.
but other teams are going to want them.
Yeah.
So I like being at 6 because that means at 6, I've done 6.5 million mock drafts, which is it's sad and it's annoying that I even do it. But it's like my bored thing at this point is I just go in and do mock drafts. When I'm bored, I get my phone out and I just start mocking drafting.
That's so early.
I know.
That's so early.
But I'm sitting there going, at 6, you're going to have your pick. You want Spencer Fano from Utah?
Yeah.
He's yours.
Sure.
You want Maui Goa from Miami, who I do think is going to be a kick-ass left tackle.
Stud.
I know, but a lot of people are like, well, I think he's not built to play tackle. I think he's a beast. He's going to be a tackle. I think he will. He's yours. You want to get that left tackle there? You want to get the best left tackle on the board? He's probably going to be there. Or one of the top 2. Or how about you want our buddy Jalen Tyson, Cavaliers' brother, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State? Guy that a lot of people think is the top wide receiver in this draft. A guy a lot of people are comparing to Emeka Ibuka, or I see his main comparison as Jackson Smith and Jigba. You want him? You want? I really love Mekhi Lemon.
Oh God,
Pete Smith is drooling. Yeah. Pete Smith's comparison. Pete's done a lot of work on Mekhi Lemon. His comparison. Amon-Ra St. Brown. You want that? You want that on this team? Or how about Carnell Tate?
Sure.
I'm not 100% sold on Carnell Tate. I'm not 100% sold on him being the number 1 guy.
No.
But you want? Are you? You want him? One of those guys going to be there. And then you got to pick at 24. So here I go. Now I'm looking and I'm going, you want to take 2 left tackles in the first round? Go for it.
Yeah.
You want to take Fano and maybe Mekhi. I've seen a lot of times Lemon has slid down to 24. Okay.
If you end up with that, I mean, I will be all the way back. I will be all the way back if you end up with that draft.
And then you get to that pick in the second round.
Yeah.
So do you want to draft? What if you took Tyson at 6 and KC Concepcion at 39?
Sure.
Or my target, my wide receiver target in this draft, the guy I would love to see the Browns walk away with. The more I think about it, the more I think, oh my God, he's what they need. Is Chris Bell out of Louisville?
Sure. Yeah, I would love him too.
Listen, actually, give me Carnell Tate and Chris Bell. Give me the big, long striding, kind of technically sound, savvy receiver, and then give me the speed demon that's built like a linebacker, but who also catches everything thrown at him.
Yeah, give me all of those, right? I mean, this is a lot of people don't like. You don't draft for need. You don't draft for need, right? You just draft best player available at the position, whatever position falls to you. No, this is an off season of need. This is an off season of getting the best players available at your positions of need, which the top 2 are wide receiver and offensive lineman. That is priority numero uno and numero uno a.
Well, in
this offseason.
One of the situations that's probably going to happen is one of these stud defensive players is probably going to be there at 6.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Arvell Reese or Bain or Caleb Downs or whatever is probably going to slide down to 6.
Yeah.
No, I don't want them. No.
Right.
Get the wide receiver or get the left tackle. Pick one. Move on.
Right. That's it. It's easy. It's an easy decision. This
easy.
This draft. It's so easy. Now, I always reserve my draft opinion, who I want them to draft, until I see what they do in free agency, which they're going to have plenty of money. So anybody who thinks they don't is not right. But still, I give me all of them. Free agency, draft, all of the wide receivers, all of the running back, all of the offensive linemen.
Well, here's I've seen a couple things. First of all, I have to give Chris some credit in the comments because he is jonesing for us to talk about Indiana. I think every time I've been on, I've seen Indiana come up.
I mean, which one? Surratt, Cooper, or Beck? Well, I don't know if Becker.
Surratt's
Okay.
the dude. Surratt.
Okay.
Would I take him with that pick in the second round? Uh-huh.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I want Chris Bell more, but would I take Surratt? Now here's the thing. Would I go if they go like Fano in the first round and they go Chris Bell at the end of the first round and then Surratt with that pick in the second round? Sign me up. Sign me up.
Yes. But each of them brings something different.
The other thing I see in the comments, Drew says this, and this is probably the ideal thing. Kansas City sitting there at 9. I just keep looking at Kansas City at 9. That's what I keep thinking about is Kansas City at 9.
Right.
And maybe it's Caleb Downs, or maybe it's Ruben Bain, or maybe it's Arvell Reese that's going to slide. One of those guys is going to slide to 6. And maybe Kansas City at 9 goes, I want that. Yeah. I want that guy. I would like that guy.
That defense is getting old. So
I would really like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on up 3 spots. Give us some more ammo in that top 40, 50 range. And let's build even faster.
Right.
I like the spot. The point is, I like the spot that they're in. I like the spot. I'm good. If you're not going to get the first pick in this draft, then build up all these other places you have needs. And Chad, like you said, there's this dumb conversation that goes on between, do you draft best player available or do you draft need? And the answer for any smart human being is that you do both.
Yeah.
You draft the best player available at an area that you need.
Right. Right.
That's it. That's boom, done. Bam. Nailed it. Nailed it.
Yeah. Who's the top person on your board at your position of need? your biggest position of need.
So that's I think anybody and you know what? He's been in the background a little bit, so we're going to get to our special guest here because maybe I want his opinion on this too. Even though we really brought him in, he's just the perfect guest.
Yeah.
For tonight.
Right.
And I know he can listen to me. I'm not trying to talk him up too much, but he's just the perfect guest for what we're doing here tonight.
He's the GOAT of guests we could get tonight. He's the GOAT of guests.
Besides us, I don't know a lot of people that talk about the Browns and the Blue Jackets. I just don't know. I don't know a lot of them, but I know this guy does, and we're excited to have him on. So I'm going to bring him in right now because I want him to chime in on some of this. You could catch him on Big Play. You know, Big Play, always doing big things. Some good guys going on over there. Big Play from, what they might have to find some new digs if they're going to tear out Berkeley Lakefront Airport. But right now they're still down there, and he is the host of the Matt Fontana Show. It's Matt Fontana. What's going on, Matt? Welcome back in the garage.
GOAT for just tonight, not just ever, or just tonight, but that's all right.
No, the GOAT of like the topics we're talking about tonight. That's it.
I'm happy to be with you guys. I appreciate having me on.
Matt, have you ever seen the movie What About Bob?
Yes.
Baby steps, buddy. Baby steps. Baby steps, pal.
Underrated Richard Dreyfuss role, by the way, because Jaws is one of my favorite movies of all time, if you can't tell. And everybody's always like, Close Encounters. All that. I'm like, What About Bob is an underrated Richard Dreyfuss role for sure.
Dr. Leo Marvin. Excellent character. Matt, before we let you start talking about this football team of ours here in Cleveland that we all love so very much, were you able to grab a beer and bring one with you?
No,
obviously. Come on.
We talked about Big Play, Garage Beer. They're all over Big Play, so we had to rock a little Garage Beer tonight.
And if we're talking about the Browns, we need a beer. So
we do. No,
little branding. We had a quick conversation with the good folks. The good people there at Garage Beer. I'm going to give them a little shout out. Good people there, but I did have to remind them that we were Garage Beers before they were. So
that's true. I always think about you guys when I mentioned that because I was like, I think you guys were very clearly first, and I don't know how that collab. I'm gonna have to talk to some people too. There's got to be a collab there. It just makes too much sense. I don't understand.
No, it's me trying to work a full-time job and raise 2 kids and then do this show where it's like I'll call him someday. Anyways, Matt Fontana, first and foremost, man, let's just catch up for a second and let's get back into that Browns conversation. But let's just catch up for a minute. How's life? How's the show going? How are things? A Big Play there? Are we nervous about shutting down Berkeley Lakefront Airport down there? Or
no, it's funny.
How's everything going with the show?
It's going great, man. I appreciate you asking me. Like it's things have been great. I mean, you guys know that kind of world too of growing something and starting out, and I'm just really happy we've expanded at Big Play. We have shows out of Pittsburgh now, out of Detroit. Columbus with Bobby Carpenter. There's some other cities that we're really trying to work on. We have a new app that we just launched. Some big things. So yeah, man, I appreciate asking. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, Burke, it's funny because that's like when I tell people that our studios are in Burke, they're like, "Oh, nice joke." I'm like, "No, I swear to God, like our studio. I will go do my show there tomorrow, and the studios, I stare out into the airfield, when I do my show." And it was really one of the investors, one of the owners, like it was basically just cheap office space because nobody wanted to be down there because it's just Burke Lakefront Airport. So to your point, it might go away. It's probably going to go away. And at that point, so Dave McAllister, who started Big Play, it all started in his garage.
Yep.
And I hate to tell him, I think we're just going to have to go back to his garage. So you guys have a little competition on the garage side.
Come on.
Poor Dave. Poor you guys having to go to Dave's golf simulator garage.
His simulator's there. He's got a stocked bar. So
yeah, tough life for you guys.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why you're out of the building, Matt. Because if I were you, I'd be sitting there watching every plane that comes in to see which head coaching candidate gets off. Like, all right, who is it?
Yeah, no, it's funny because there's the plane trackers now, so people are all over the Maras and where Tish just sent in his, where Arthur Blank's plane is. So it's pretty funny because there's another section of the airport, kind of further down. Like if you're going, the Marginal, and you go east. That's like where like the signature aviation people are, and I just get in my car and I'm like, yeah, that must be nice, and then I just get in my car and I drive home to my two kids.
Stock bar, schmock bar. I got rakes. I got 2-cycle engine oil over there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got gas.
Yeah, who needs a golf simulator? Hey, just real quick. This is weird to do live, but we're getting a lot of comments on it. So it sounds okay to me, but I don't know if the people listening, I don't know if your earbuds are connected to your thing, but people are saying it's very quiet and hard to hear you. So very
quiet and hard to hear me.
I think you sound all right, Chad. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
I mean, I don't want you to mess with it too much, but when multiple of these goofballs in these comments are making the noise.
Okay,
oh, wait a minute.
I switched to something else. Does this sound better?
I think it sounds much better.
Okay, I will rock with that. So it's either the AirPods, the streaming camera that I have, or something else. So I switched to option number 2. So if this sounds good for you guys, we'll rock with this.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
I actually didn't think it sounded bad, but now it's infinitely better. Anyways.
That sounds good. Great. Awesome.
So, Matt, you got a garage beer. You're hanging out with us. So you heard us talking a little bit about before we get into the coach conversation with the Cleveland Browns, and then we're going to move on to that coach conversation with the Columbus Blue Jackets. But you heard us talking a little bit about just kind of the player personnel side of the offseason. And it really does. Chad's right. They are going to open up cap space. Everybody that says they're in cap hell doesn't realize who Andrew Berry is. He's going to open up cap space. It's the reason he's still the GM. So they'll find a way to sign players. I feel like that's going to be more along the offensive line than it is going to be in wide receiver. But I really do think that a lot of the improvement that you might see from the Cleveland Browns is going to come out of the draft again this year. And so what are your thoughts there? They've got the 6th pick. They won those last 2 games. So they don't have the top overall pick. They can't get Fernando Mendoza. Dante Moore's going back to college. What do you think about the position that they're in with those 2 first-rounders? Again, screw Jacksonville for having a good season, but kind of where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you guys were talking, offensive line, Spencer Fano's there. He should be there. I mean, I think the biggest changes with Moore going back, now the Jets are going to sit there and say, do you go Arvell Reese? Bain, maybe, like they're in a real pickle right there, what they want to do. So I think it opens you up to go offensive line. I'd trade that 24 pick if I could to get another pick for next year, just because if you can stock up for the quarterbacks that you could potentially get next year, you'll be in a good spot. I'll listen to Tate. I'll listen to Jordan Tyson at 6. I actually like some of the second-round guys. You mentioned like Christopher Bell. He tore his ACL, so you got to kind of, that might actually help you if he falls a little bit and maybe he's ready to go by mid-season, something like that. I actually think there's a decent crop of that second wave of receivers.
Yes.
And there's so much size. There are so many just massively huge receivers, in this.
Denzel Boston, he's a big dude.
I was just going to say him.
Bazell, the kid out of Tennessee, is another big kid. Like, they really, you mentioned, Surratt, like, he's pretty big. Like, there's just size, and the Browns haven't really had that at receiver in quite some time. So, if they want to go offensive line, then go receiver. I think those have got to be your first 2 picks, whether it's the first and second round, whether it's your 2 ones. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of teams that want to not punt on this draft, but really kind of want to get ready for some picks with what is. I mean, again, we saw what happened with the mock drafts in August versus now.
Right.
Smyer and Klubnik. But, like, it's legit that you probably will have 6 quarterbacks worthy of being taken in the first round next year. And you better be in a position to get one of them if you're the Browns. So it's either tank or have another bad season, which they might, or load up on as much ammo as you can to make sure that you can make an offer that, somebody can't refuse.
Hey, or Shador works out. Let's do that. Let's
right.
Go.
That's fine. That works too. I mean, I think that's, the new coach on, I think it's going to be an offensive guy. I would like it to maybe be Jim Schwartz, but whoever they bring in here, I don't think you can necessarily pin Shador on a coach and be like, your sole job here is to get this guy right. You could do that with Cam Ward. You're going to do that with Jackson Dart. I don't think you can do that with Shador Sanders. So what you can do is sit down with the coach and go, what do you like? What do you need to fix? Do you think it's going to work? And good news, you're going to have a year no matter what to try to work with this guy, because I just don't see any other option, for them to go out and really change the quarterback position for next season.
Well, and listen, if the offseason goes the way that it should, I'll use our buddy and our colleague here at the OBR, Jack Duffin, is going to pound the table all offseason long for Tyler Linderbaum from Baltimore. He's a free agent center, but he's a monster. He's awesome. So let's say you do get Fano in the draft, and there's your left tackle. Boom. And let's say I will bang the drum for Chase Pasantis from my Texas A&M Aggies. Maybe in the 3rd round as that interior. He reminds me of the second coming of Wyatt Teller. He's a mauler. He's a beast. He's a run blocking beast for sure. And so now you've got your left tackle. You figure it out. The rest of the way. You got a new center. You got a new guard. And then you maybe attack some of those second round kind of guys. Those maybe Mekhi Lemon falls a little bit, or maybe you can get your hands on Concepcion or Boston or whatever. And now you've revamped. Now you've got Quinshad Judkins healthy. You've got Harold Fannin going out there. I still think they're bringing David Njoku back, because what kind of contract? He's not going to go out there and garner some massive contract this offseason. Right. And he's a culture guy. You want him. He loves being a Cleveland Brown. You want him back. So you got Njoku, and maybe Jerry Jeudy's now a wide receiver 3. Fingers crossed.
Please.
But all of a sudden, now you've got new talent on the offensive line. You got new talent at wide receiver. You've got the good players that you brought in last year. And now you give Shador Sanders a chance with that group. And I am so teeter-totter on Shador Sanders. I don't know whether he's going to be good or not. He showed that he's better than a 5th round draft pick. But he showed why he fell in the draft as well. But you give him a chance with an updated roster, and then the year after, you go get that quarterback if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. They're not going to really be in a position to do anything, and I don't even know if I necessarily want them to. I mean, listen, Mac Jones, what does he really solve for you? I'm sick of taking guys in the 2nd round, 3rd round. You need a pick. You need a 1st-round pick. I mean, what was the stat of the 14 playoff teams? 12 of the 14 quarterbacks were 1st-round picks. The only ones with Jalen Hurts was a 2nd-round pick, and then Brock Purdy, who's the ultimate anomaly of anomalies because he went to Kyle Shanahan.
Correct.
For what is Brock Purdy's not doing anything if he went to any other team other than Kyle Shanahan, he's not Brock Purdy. So, it shows you're not going to fix anything until you draft a quarterback and pretty much draft them in the first half of the 1st round. So that all aside, I think the offensive line thing is interesting because, we saw it a lot with the Browns, not necessarily by design, but there is some truth to it. You really only need 4. So if you sit there and you say, okay, if Whippler can be your center, or if you go get Linderbaum, I don't know what the hell's up with Zach Zinter. Okay,
nothing is.
I have no idea. So if you can even somehow just supplement those two, then you're right. You draft Fano, here's your left tackle. Okay, fine.
and then one more free agent, that's it. You're good. And then you can rotate your Tevin Jenkins and go find your KT Levistons to rotate in for a fifth spot and then readdress it in the future. I know it's not a great answer, but like you don't have to overhaul this right now. And Andrew Berry said at his end of season press conference, he's like, this offseason is all about the offense. It was all about defense for the past 2 years. They've built it. They'll have literally every single one of their starters back. Ronnie Hickman's a restricted free agent. He can't leave if the Browns don't want him to. They can re-sign MJ Emerson coming off the injury. They're not going to miss a guy in that defense. You keep Jim Schwartz around, you're good. Invest every single thing you have in offense, signing guys, and draft, and you kind of see where you're at the end of it.
The other thing, though, you get a benefit on the defensive side of things. You get a benefit for how good the defense is, and frankly, you get a Myles Garrett bump. You get you're gonna have the defensive player of the year, the single season sacking, and you're gonna have the defensive rookie of the year. We'll see. MJ Emerson's back. We'll see what happens with JOK. Nobody knows what's going to happen there, but I think what you've earned is and I think we've seen it. You've earned that like veteran minimum, good player type players that want to come play for the Browns because the defense is awesome. It's like the Shelby Harris situation.
Right, or Devin Bush, you know. And
yes,
I mean, he like revamped his career in a way, so like he was kind of probably wanting to go somewhere where he could play, and he did, and he earned himself a lot of money. Now, I hope it comes from the Browns, but it might not. I don't know. And then you kind of see where it goes from there. But yeah, that's like a prime example of you hear that. You know, I don't want to say I'm taking a big leap on this, but you guys will follow what I'm talking about. You know, when quarterbacks are just like, well, we're going to flock to Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, they'll save our career. You can say the same thing about defensive players. Like a defensive player that is maybe a former high draft pick like Bush or needs a 1-year deal to prove himself, especially on that D-line. You don't think Malik Collins, if he wasn't under contract for the Browns next year, he'd be getting a fat paycheck this offseason.
Yes.
Wouldn't mind an extension for him, by the way, which would be great.
Yeah.
But all that aside, like, I think if you're a defensive player, like you have to look at this Browns defense and say, I'm going to look really good in this defense and could help me make money. So exactly what you're talking about, Mike, like I agree. I think this is now at least a defensive kind of destination if guys really want to come. I mean, the problem is too, if you want to go make the playoffs or, you know, towards the end of your career, like Joe Bitonio, you just want to go somewhere just to say you were there, you know, more than once, then I don't know if Cleveland's going to be your spot.
We just got a comment from Joe that says, I know we need offense bad, but could you imagine Caleb Downs in the secondary? And I don't want to say something. 1, that would be unbelievable. 2, Caleb Downs is unbelievable. And 3, if they did that at the 6th pick, I would tear this room limb to limb. There would be holes in the walls. The doors would be off the hinges. I would yell at my kids for no reason. Like it would be a very aggressive night if they did that. Like,
yeah,
no, thank you.
I mean, he's like, you guys are mentioning kind of some of the other spots, like, yeah, like watch him fall like Kansas City somehow, or watch him fall to like one of these teams that are just, you know, primed and kind of ready to go. Like, I know the Lions have a ton of good safeties already, and they kind of all got hurt and all that kind of stuff, but Caleb Downs seems like a luxury pick, like when you're in a spot that you can afford to take it. Because I agree, you guys, I was listening when you got before I came on, and I agree with you guys 100%. Anybody that tells you like best player available, I don't know if I can swear on this or not, but they're full of crap. Yeah. They are absolutely full of shit. There's
bullshit. Thank you.
Boom.
Because it is the best player available for your team.
Yes.
It is the best player available for what you need for your team. There were years the Browns never needed to draft a left tackle, even if a left tackle was the best on the board, because they had Joe Thomas. Like, now, I mean, I know there's 2 DNs, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to draft a DN right now because you don't need one. You don't need Ruben Bain. You don't need somebody to come off the edge because you already have Myles Garrett. Like, I just, yeah. So, like, yeah, Caleb Downs would be great. And I think, I mean, you know, I'm sure we'll talk to Andrew Berry later, but, like, Ronnie Hickman was a really good find for this defense, and I've been a big Grant Delpit fan for about since they drafted him. I know he got off to a slow start with the Achilles injury and all that, but he's a stud. I'd like another extension for him, to be honest with you, soon.
Yes.
And, you know, they're locked up, and I think, you know, now the Tyson Campbell trade, I think, affords you this for a little bit. Denzel playing most of the games this year was great, but really the only position on defense. You could use another linebacker, sure. I think you do need to turn your attention back to corner a little bit because I think 2 years down the road you're a little thin. But other than that, that secondary is pretty primed and ready to go.
And if they want to use a 4th round pick on a corner, do it.
Sure.
Go for it.
Corner is one of those positions, like just from a pure special team standpoint, I think you should draft a wide receiver and a corner every single year. Every year, you could always use them in a lot of different things. Those are two positions you can't have enough of.
Sorry, I cut you off, Chad. I felt like you had something you were going with there, and then I just cut you right off because I'm the asshole of the week here.
Yeah, big time. No, I think this is kind of I don't know if it's a make or break year for Andrew Berry and those defensive guys, because one of the things I do worry about in the future is that if this offense doesn't develop, that we're going to lose this defense. Like I really feel like this is such an important offseason for Andrew Berry and this front office to really build up this offense, because I think you're going to have a lot of problems, because if this defense stays as dominant as it is, but they're still not winning football games because of an inept offense, I think it's going to spell trouble in this locker room. But I'm excited. I've been on this train of they can win me back in 2 years straight of them finally getting their shit together. But I don't know. I after thinking about it, I think with all the smart moves that they can make this offseason, if they can make the right moves this offseason,
like smart moves.
Simple. I mean, because it's right there in front of you. Like, it couldn't be any more black and white what you need to do to improve this team. So if they could do this, I really think next year could be pretty special. But it all hinges on whether Shedeur can develop or not. And Shedeur, I don't know. Shedeur for me falls somewhere in between. Like, he did enough to make me want to see more with like a team built around him. Mm-hmm. But then you see all the bad stuff, and that makes me feel like, okay, maybe he's not the guy. But at the same time, I also feel like it's unfair that for some of the stuff he did, I feel like it's unfair to say that he can't develop into a viable starter in the NFL. So it's kind of a weird situation for me when it comes to Shedeur. But I hope it's for the best. But yeah, I'm kind of just, I go 6'7" with Shedeur. I go up and down with him.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because, like, to the defense on that real quick, right? They're going to age out. I mean, at best, think about it. You only have 5 years left to Myles Garrett, probably. Right.
Probably.
So it's like, if you again don't really have a good year this year, then you're down to 4 and see that. The thing about Shedeur, so there's somebody that I talked to that they were really into like the film breakdowns, and they really enjoy kind of watching it, and they have talked to people in the NFL in the past and are working in the NFL. But the whole reason I was talking to this person, and they said this, they were like, you learn when it comes to the quarterbacks, not everybody subscribes to this, but you learn more from the bad than you do the good. And the whole point is, show me the bad. Don't show me the good, because I can get hooked on a good, and especially in college, I can get hooked on a guy that can throw it 1.5 miles and he can do all these crazy things. Show me the bad, because the elite quarterbacks don't have a lot of bad. Yeah. And you got to find somebody. Everybody's got bad. Everybody has bad when it comes to quarterback play. But the elite ones, and the ones that even, I don't want to say elite, let's just say even average in the NFL, all they do is reduce and reduce and reduce the bad as much as they can. Chad, I worry about if there's too much bad with Shedeur. And I get it. He's a rookie. He started, 7 games or whatever it was. Like, let's see what they can do to help him, and let's see what they can do to train some things out. But the problem is, it's a lot of the same stuff that was the bad in college that is maybe part of the reason that he fell. So I'm fine with him playing. I'm completely fine with them starting the season. I don't know how you necessarily sell that to the locker room, per se. That's going to be a lot on the new head coach to figure that out. But you only have a better option, and he's a young guy. So throw him out there, fit the offense to him, get an offseason worth of work, and see where he's at.
All right, Matt. So, again, Chad and I were texting this week. We were like, all right, let's get a guest on. Let's get a good guest on. And I know you heard it in the background, and I know we're saying nice things about you, but let it happen. And I said, man, who do we know that can talk about? I mean, the Browns are in the middle of this coaching search, and it's the biggest news in Cleveland sports right now. And the Blue Jackets just did something crazy at the coach. Maybe not crazy, but just like very sudden, and like, boom, this happened. And who do we know that can talk about both those things? And I texted Chad, I go, Matt Fontana, see if he can come on. And boom, here you are. And I love it. So let's start with the Brown stuff and kind of wrap up our Brown talk here with the coaching search. So here's kind of what we know, and I will throw it. I just got done doing a show with Fred Greetham. We had Mary Kay Cabot on, and we talked all about this Browns coaching search, and she filled us in on some things that I didn't know. But here's what they've done: they have interviewed Aiden Dirty from Seattle, who I know he's got to be Jack Duffin's favorite, the Brit, the old Brit. I don't know if I don't know if we can.
Right, maybe they can have a couple of pints together. Right.
They've interviewed Todd Monken. They've interviewed Dan Pitcher from Cincinnati. They've interviewed their in-house guys in Tommy Reese and Jim Schwartz. I think Friday they've got Jesse Minter on the schedule, the coordinator out of the Chargers, who cheated his ass off at Michigan. So I'm not real interested there. But still to come, Chris Shula, Nate Shielhouse, and Grant Udinsky from Jacksonville. And then we just keep getting these nuggets. First of all, you have to trade for Mike Tomlin to get him here. Mm-hmm. Mike Tomlin, no, thank you. No, thank you, please. No, thank you, please.
Yeah. Goodbye.
But
he's going to TV. He's going to get a fat contract and sit there and enjoy a semi-retirement year for him for sure.
But I will tell you this, and I have to be careful with this because I've got to be a company man for a minute. There has been some recent news, not big news, not breaking news. Nobody's getting hired, no big things. But just a little snippet in our little rumor central section on the OBR.com about the other guy that got fired out of the AFC North and the Browns. And I let's just not talk about John Harbaugh because I don't want to step on any toes. But maybe go read that. If you're a subscriber, go to Rumor Central and read that because there's still maybe some things to talk about there. But let's talk about what we do know, and it's the guys we talked about. So, Matt, you see the net that they've cast. Some veterans, your in-house guys. You've heard all the rumors, which, by the way, some of these rumors have been ridiculous. Some of these guys need to be called out in Cleveland media for making shit up. John Harbaugh's demands. That was the most made-up thing I've ever seen. I don't care. I don't care because that comes from a guy that I don't want to ever have on my shows ever anyways. But like, that wasn't he needs to be the general manager and have all personnel say, oh, really? So you think he's going to go to Miami that just hired a general manager or New York that already has one? Shut up. But you see the net that they've cast, Matt. So talk to me about your thoughts here. And which one of these guys are they going to bring in? And this is the biggest question that everybody should be talking about. It's better than Kevin Stefanski. That's going to be better for this team than Kevin Stefanski.
I mean, I don't know, because I was a Stefanski defender. I still understood why they got rid of him. I felt like it was needed and ready to go.
Yep.
And I think that Kevin wanted to go. I think he understood, like,
yes,
I've done all I could here. It's not working. You didn't give me any quarterbacks. It's just time. And I was talking to my show about it last week. I go, I don't know many coaches that could have done much better with the list of quarterbacks that Kevin Stefanski had. So, like, what you want them to do? That all aside, like, are they going to be better by proxy, I guess, just because they're not Kevin Stefanski, because they're a fresh voice? Yeah, possibly. I mean, the thing is, with Andrew Berry leading it, you got to start with the analytics. You're going to have to start, like, how into that is Jim Schwartz? I don't know. How into it is a guy like Mike McDaniel? Like, sure. Udinsky, Pitcher, kind of the I don't know if you guys saw that Jordan Schultz report, like, the Browns are open to a guy like that, trying to think, like, well, if they're going to be a hot on the cycle, the candidate cycle next year, then why not just get him a year early? And I only pump the brakes, and I respect Jordan Schultz a lot. I like him a lot. And I think
yes.
I'm not bashing his report, but here's my thing. Guys, how much turnover do we see in coaching candidate carousel every year, right? It's like the draft. You, like, sit there and you're like, that guy's it. That guy's going to be surefire head coach next year.
Yeah.
Their team goes out, they suck, and then everybody goes, well, maybe not, and all of a sudden you can't get a hold of them. Then it's all about the individuals and who you like or who you have a relationship. Like, why isn't Matt Burke getting interviewed, right?
Yes.
Everybody said Matt Burke, the DC for Houston, was going to get interviewed and all that. I don't think he's been interviewed anywhere. I know he's in the playoffs, but there's so many things going on. So, like, all that aside, I think McDaniel's interesting. Udinski doesn't do it for me. I don't want him. I don't want Pitcher. I don't want Shieldhouse. Like, they can interview those guys for OC. That's fine. And because a lot of these interviews too are about like just get to know them for other jobs, right? Like, you could call Grant Udinski, who doesn't call plays in Jacksonville. You hire Greg Williams, Jim Schwartz, and you bring him in and go, okay, well, do you want to come up here to call plays? Because then you get a bump up, like you're a play calling OC now, So that's another reason that they do a less and like cast this wide net. But guys, I also think it's not like it's last year where like Ben Johnson was the eye of everybody, Apple. Everybody knew he was the number one guy. I understand that John Harbaugh is that this year, but even that's a little bit different. Like Aaron Glenn, everybody kind of knew where that was going to go. Like there's so many teams, and I frankly think there's just so many unknowns on coaches. And I really think this is one where a lot of times, I think a lot of this is going to come down to familiarity, or it's going to come down to who's got a contact with who. And, just one, like I'm going to do this on my show this week where I'm going to go through and pick all the teams where I think they're going to go. Like Matt Nagy spent time with Borgonzi, who was the GM in Tennessee. Like, I think Matt Nagy is going to be the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. You know what I mean? Like, you mentioned Jesse Minter. Oh, gee, he went to Michigan. Jim Harbaugh. Wait, Stephen Ross, who owns the Dolphins, is a massive Michigan. And I don't think he's getting John Harbaugh, so why not get a guy that's really close to the family in Minter? Like, I think you got to connect all these dots in this. So it's like you ask yourself the Browns, right? Well, who is it? Who do they have connections with? All right, Pitcher spent like a year or two with Barry in some like lower role. Okay, so he kind of knows him. Schwartz, Reese, you know them. Udinski's got nothing. He's only been in the NFL for 5 years. He's had almost no responsibilities as a coach. That's kind of why I don't really want him as the head coach. You can take him as an OC, fine. I don't want him as the head coach. So you start like circling and you go, who's the contacts? And you're just like, there really aren't many. There's not too many as you kind of, because Andrew Barry's only been in Philly and here, right? Like, so there's not this huge Nick Sirianni web that has kind of gone off and done all these other things. So if I had to pick, I'm going to say Mike McDaniel. I think he's the hire. You get an offensive guy in here who's got experience. You try to keep Jim Schwartz. And then if Tommy Reese wants to stay, but if not, try to go get, Udinski. Or again, Pitcher, same thing. A non-play calling OC. Call him and say, hey, come take a, bump up here. You can call plays here. Not a McDaniel guy.
No, it's not that I'm not a McDaniel guy. It's just that I was after the last couple of days and after reading up on everything, and I came into tonight, Matt, with my head totally wrapped around the idea of going after the young guy, the unknown, the guy who was going to go into the guy who was going to go into this with like fresh ideas, because I see it as such a forward-thinking move to hire someone like a Nate Shieldhouse, or to hire someone like a Grant Udinski, or who else were we talking about? Who was the other offensive guy that we were talking about? Udinski, Steelhouse.
He was talking about Pitcher.
And Dan Pitcher. I was all about that, but he kind of made me rethink it. But I don't know if it's Mike McDaniel now. But when you talk about connections, I mean, Jim Schwartz probably has the most connection of it all after spending a bunch more years in Philly with Barry. So, God, and now I don't know. Now I have no idea who I want. Okay, all I know is whoever they do, I got to give them a chance. But I've totally done a 180 now. Now I'm back to who the hell do I want?
Right. Listen, It's fair. It's fair. I don't know. I think we're having a little technical. Oh, there's Matt. Matt's back. There he is.
Chad, I didn't leave because you said,
Chad started talking and Matt was like,
hang up.
Yeah.
I didn't hang up because of that. Sorry.
Hold on.
My computer.
Chad started talking and Matt Fontana went like,
yeah. He's like, oh, hey. Oh, Chad, hey, that's great. That's a great.
don't like the take. I'm out of here. No.
Fair. Do you have any idea how often I've wanted to do that? No. Listen, I think there's elements that need to just be made simple with this conversation and in the building in Berea, which is this. One, if you're going into these conversations telling these coaches that if they get hired, they need to keep Jim Schwartz, then Jim Schwartz should be your next head coach.
I agree. Yeah.
That ultimately, to me, is nonsensical. You cannot tell a new head coach that he has to keep this guy or that guy. That's the point of being a head coach, is that you pick your coaching staff around you. And if it's that much of a sticking point for you that you're going to potentially lose candidates because that's what you're telling them, then just hire Jim Schwartz, let him be your coach, and let him take the first part of this. And then, like you said, maybe offer Udinsky or one of these guys the play calling role. I personally think Mike McDaniel is awesome. I think everybody is trying to say he's very similar to Kevin Stefanski, and I think there's elements of it, but I don't think he's really all that similar. I think Mike McDaniel's offense, even in times where that team hasn't played well, his offense has played pretty well. I think a lot of Browns fans are thinking about how they got shellacked by the Browns in Cleveland this year, but that was a one-off for that team. Mike McDaniel is an expert at running the ball. He is, his teams run the shit out of the football. He's not had, I'm not a Tua guy at all in the slightest. No. And yet, under Mike McDaniel, Tua led the league in passing. They had like the top offense in the league with Tua under Mike McDaniel. And I know they had Jalen Waddle and they had Tyreek Hill, but still, like that's part of it. So I really like Mike McDaniel. I like him to be the coach. And I'm the opposite of you, Matt. My guy, if you're going to go with one of these other guys, one of the young guys, I think I like Udinsky the most. I think he's the guy. I like him, and I don't think, and I think maybe this is just the Browns' perspective of desperately wanting to keep Jim Schwartz, which, by the way, again, if that's the case, head coach. It's Udinsky and Aiden Dirty for me that I go back and forth with, because they both have very similar. When you hear people talk about those guys, as opposed to all these other guys, when you hear people talk about those guys, it's the same thing. You heard, I don't know if you guys saw online the description of Udinsky. I don't remember who it was that said it, but it was like when he interviewed, you felt like something about like he would tell you how to build the car. You know what I mean? Like,
it was Kevin O'Connell, because he worked in Minnesota before he went down there. Kevin O'Connell said Grant Udinsky interviewing for their assistant quarterback coach job, or like an offensive assistant, was like interviewing a guy that could build a car from scratch to be a car wash attendant.
Yes,
that's kind of what his mark was. And it's like, I get it, because Kevin O'Connell is really viewed around the league as a really smart offensive quarterback guru type of guy, and if he's saying that about Grant Udinsky, then that's probably a pretty good thing. Then he goes down to Jacksonville, and he's not calling plays because Liam Cohen is, but you see the explosion down there with Jacksonville, and the Liam Cohen, obviously he comes off the McVay tree, so like you have Udinsky who gets sprinkled in.
When you hear about what Trevor Lawrence said about him, Trevor Lawrence just went on and on and on about him.
And so did Sam Darnold, because when Darnold was up in Minnesota last year and he's putting up all those numbers and all that, like Sam Darnold has spoken glowingly about Grant Udinsky too.
And then, I know it was their first interview.
Yeah.
But the same thing's happening with Aiden Dirty out there in Seattle. Look at what they say about this dude. Like, nobody's saying bad things about Dan Pitcher. Nobody's saying bad things about Chris Shula, whatever. But it's not the same level of what I'm hearing about these guys. And again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I can sit here and tell you what a Grant Udinsky team is going to look like. I don't know if I can sit here and tell you what an Aiden Dirty team is going to look like, but when I listen to what people say that have been around these guys, it's a different kind of level with those two guys. And so to me, it draws me that direction.
Yeah, like I get it. I'm just worried about him He's 30. He's been in the NFL for 5 years. He's had no job of responsibility. And that's people are going to say, look, what are you talking about? Like, he's only ever been an assistant quarterbacks coach, then a non-calling offensive coordinator down in Jacksonville. Like, I'm not saying the guy's not smart. I'm sure he's a genius. I'm not saying that in a couple of years he's not going to be the next Kyle Shanahan. But there's so many elements about the other side of it. Like, if you're talking about a guy that's going to sit down and just call plays, hire him. I'm sure he's going to knock it out of the park. But, like, the head coaching thing, how are you going to deal with guys that have attitudes that make 10 times the amount of salary that you do? How are you dealing with, the media, the personnel? How are you motivating guys? How are you dealing with players that are probably going to be older than you are? Sean McVay got hired. He was young and he had only been in the NFL for 7 years. I'm like, yeah, but he was also a play calling OC for 3 years. That's a job of consequence. That is a job of responsibility. And and again, maybe Udinski, he checks all these boxes and, they fall in love with him because I get it. Like, if Barry's running this, which obviously we know he is, that does not like scream Andrew Barry hire.
Yes.
I get it. Jim Schwartz doesn't. Even John Harbaugh doesn't. If it's Andrew Barry who's got the keys to the car, and I do believe he does, which I actually think is, at least they pick somebody.
Yes.
In the past, it's always been this collaborative, and everybody's on board. That never works. You need to pick one person, put it on them, and say, run our franchise. Okay, you picked Andrew Barry. A lot of people are going to sit there and say that's stupid. Well, at least they picked somebody. I can't sit here and debate that and tell you it was a good idea or a bad idea, but at least they picked somebody finally. So if he's got the keys to the car, Udinski screams a lot of Andrew Barry, doesn't he?
I just got sucked in, man. Like, when you watch that clip of him like talking about offense, and I just think, when is the last time you heard any Browns coach talk offense like that? Yeah. And it made me go, yeah, okay, bright mind. That's just you can. That's why I like these young guys, right? Like, just someone with fresh ideas, someone that can like take this Browns franchise into the future, right? Where this game is going. I love John Harbaugh, right? A great coach, amazing coach. Has had so many years of success, but it just feels like one of these young, fresh guys with fresh ideas. It just, I don't know. It just feels like the right type of hire for me.
Here's the other thing, though. I think it's kind of the same thing conversation wise as when we were talking about best player available versus position of need, and that's a stupid conversation. The other stupid conversation is football guy versus analytics. That's stupid. Analytics are just numbers, and they all use them. And you're crazy if you think that think who's the biggest football guy coach in all of football? Who would you say? Football guy.
Yeah, Dan Campbell.
I have a lot of people that are like, they need to get Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell missed the playoffs with that roster. What are we talking about?
Well, and
that team collapsed under Dan Campbell.
And that's your Ben Johnson, right? That's that's the debate about the OC and like who you're going to hire. You keep them around because they run it. And my kind of thing is like, you know what? If I get to an NFC Championship game with Ben Johnson and then he leaves, I will cry myself to sleep, but I'll be happy about it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
The same thing with Udinski, right? Like, if you bring him in here and the Browns are like, man, this guy's a genius and he's a future head coach, and if we don't make him a head coach now, somebody's going to make him a head coach in 3 years. Yeah, that's fine. If he comes here and has the same success that Ben Johnson had in Detroit for 3 years and then he leaves for a head coaching job, I'll deal with that. Like, get me there first.
Which brings up the point, would you rather be a year early or would you rather be late?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you always want to be early on it. And
I'll take the year early. And again, it goes back, that word, the word analytics, I wish somebody would bury it 1,000 feet into the earth. Because if you don't think Dan Campbell is using analytics, you're crazy. They're all using numbers, analytics, stats, numbers, tendencies. They're all using it. There's no different. There's no such thing as an analytics guy or a football guy. That's a fake thing that some guy started talking about years ago that everybody bought into. So it isn't about any of that. It's about which guy do you think is going to be able to lead the Browns into winning football. And I don't know that we're not going to know. We're not going to know until they hire him, until they start having practices. And frankly, probably 2-3 years down the road when you have to have a head coach and you have to have a quarterback, and we don't know what the Browns are going to have at this point. So again, Matt, it sounded to me like you thought if you were like we promote smart betting on things, but if you were putting a smart bet down, it sounded to me like you kind of thought McDaniel's probably your bet on this.
Yeah, I would probably say, and I think he's kind of slowly creeping up there. I don't think the door is shut on Jim Schwartz, but again, yeah, if I was putting a bet down, Mike McDaniel's my pick right now. I don't know if he's my pick per se. I just think that's what the Browns are going to pick.
Chad, smart money on your Browns pick.
Oh man, Aiden Dirty.
Wow,
Aiden Dirty. I think it's going to be one of the young guys. I think Andrew Berry, being as analytical as he is, I think he's just going to be so intrigued with the minds of these guys that he's going to pick one of them. I don't know which one he's going to pick, but I think it's going to be one of the young guys.
I would really like McDaniel. I'm a McDaniel guy. I think he would be a very good coach. That's my preference. I think he's the front runner. Otherwise, Udinski to me is the guy that makes a lot of sense, Andrew Berry style, and I'd be happy with Jim Schwartz because part of me thinks that bringing a coordinator that has had past head coaching, he was all right in Detroit. Everybody acts like he was terrible. He wasn't. But also, like, he knows these guys, and he knows, I'm sure he has his opinions on the things that Kevin Stefanski was doing wrong. And I think he could make little adjustments to make big differences. And I think there's a benefit to that for Jim Schwartz. But I'm with you with McDaniel, and I swear to God, if they lose their preferred choice because they want to keep Jim Schwartz and they don't make him the head coach, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind.
I don't think you'd have to sell. Like, I think if you went to a lot of these like, let's just say it's Mike McDaniel, right? And unless he's got, like, I don't know why, like, Anthony Weaver comes to mind because, like, wasn't he down there in Miami or whatever? And, like, Mike McDaniel walks in and he's, like, pounding the table. Nope, gotta have Anthony Weaver. Like, I would assume most of these head coaches would kind of be understanding of that. And also then look at Jim Schwartz, what he's done with this defense, and say, like, that's an asset, right? Like, any of these coaches, like, they need to win games, right? They can't just walk in here and be like, yeah, right now, you think you're going to win a lot of these games with these offense? I don't think so. So, like, if Jim Schwartz is willing to stay, I think most head coaches would be okay with that. And then you'd be like, well, why would he want to stay for another head coach? Here's the thing. Jim Schwartz already has a crack at being a head coach. You know, when I was covering the Browns, you know, consistently, I was out there. I didn't get a lot of run over with Jim Schwartz. I was there for a lot of the Joe Woods years. But I was there for a little bit during Jim Schwartz. And the vibe that I always got is he really likes being a defensive coordinator. He really likes that position on the job, on the field. And I'm not saying that he doesn't want to be a head coach again, but there is no salary cap for coaches. If the Haslams want to sit down and say, you are this important, the new head coach is willing to keep you around, and we're willing to cut you a check to do that, a la what they did with Bill Callahan. He only left because it was his kid, but Bill Callahan was making a lot of money being the Browns offensive line coach. Why don't you just do that for Jim Schwartz? I think a lot of parties would be, you know, again, I'm with you, Mike. Like, I'm not forcing that on anybody.
Right.
But I think that's a situation that could totally happen.
And to be honest with you, the only direction they could go that would make me, I know Jesse Minter's a hot name, but man, I can't get over that Michigan cheating bullshit. And he was part of that.
DC stands for dirty cheater instead of defensive coordinator.
The only one they've talked to, I feel like there is no shot for Tommy Rees, which is fine because I don't know that he's shown enough to get that shot. Please do not make Todd Monken the head coach here. Like that otherwise, if it's dirty, if it's McDaniel, pitcher, Schwartz, Udinski, Shielhaus, I don't know anything about him. Chris Shula, like those guys. Okay. All right. I'm not going to have, there's certain guys on that list that I'm not going to have big feelings about, but like, let's give it a shot and see what happens.
Yeah, when Monken, when it came out, he admitted, he's like, I didn't have a good relationship with Lamar Jackson. I'm like, what did you just say?
Like, how is that possible?
Literally, your job is contingent. And I'm not saying Lamar is an easy guy to deal with, and I'm not saying that it's easy to coach him or do any of that. But I was like, don't say. I go. He said the quiet part. He said, you don't say that. Like, I heard that. And I was like, we're done here. I'm with like Monk and I'm out. Like I told you about Udinski. I'm not really. Same thing with pitcher. I just think it's too much. Like, I just think that's too big of a step. I just think that's too much just from all the stuff that goes into being a head coach. And I just don't think Harbaugh's coming here. So he's like, and to your point, so what you guys are talking about, I kind of agree. Like, where are you going to be in 7 years with him and all that. So yeah, it's weird. I think for the first time in a long time, because like we've been through these coaching searches before, and I used to always have a much bigger list of no's than yes. I used to have this giant list of nope, absolutely not, don't want that guy. And this one's different. Where I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm kind of with you, Mike. Like I'm out on Monken, like I said, Udinski, Hart, like all that. But I'm like, I'm sitting there, like, I talk myself into most of these other guys that are on the list, except maybe Mike McCarthy. But I don't know what the hell happened to him.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. Huge, big.
Yeah, he's not even interviewing.
Big no, thank you. Big old no, thank you. All right, Matt. Listen. Again, there's a transition here. So we've got this big Browns coaching drama, and it's probably going to be a couple weeks, but it's not going to be that long before we know who the head coach is. I think you're gonna have to see the Harbaugh domino fall. I honestly, I think Kevin Stefanski is the second dude off the list. I think there's a lot of teams that really like Kevin Stefanski who also really like Harbaugh and are kind of waiting to see what Harbaugh does. Mm-hmm. But I want to transition here while we're talking about coaches. So great Cleveland Browns talk, significantly longer than I thought it was going to be. That's how this podcast tends to go. But I again, a big reason we had you on is the Blue Jackets side of things. And we have covered the Blue Jackets for years. We've got a great relationship with those people down there. And it's not surprising that they decided in a year where they came up this close of making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They actually won every game they needed to win to make the playoffs, but Montreal just won that one extra game. The Columbus Blue Jackets have come out and for the majority of this year have been the last place team in the Eastern Conference. Now, having said that, it's not a big spread between top and bottom in the Eastern Conference, but they've not played the way that we expected them to play. They have gone into almost, I feel like watching them this year, Chad, you'll agree with this. I feel like they've gone into every third period with a lead and then they've blown it every single time. Like I feel like that's just been the identity of the Blue Jackets. Mm-hmm. And ultimately they decided that the coaching staff is going to have some repercussions to face, and they just diced Dean Evison, just like, see ya, gone. Dean Evison, out of here. And not only do they do that, but then they have, just like in the chamber, 70-year-old Rick Bowness, who I was not happy about this at first. Not that they got rid of Dean Evison, but Rick Bowness. And Chad warmed me up on the idea a little bit, but like, Matt, as a guy that talks a lot of Blue Jackets, your thoughts when you saw this whole thing go down this week?
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking yet it wasn't, because with just where the Jackets were at, like you guys said, to go back last year with the unfortunate passing of Johnny Gaudreau, just that emotional toll on the whole season, and then all of a sudden you go into the last week and you're like, how in the hell are we in this thing right now? You had Jet Greaves come out of nowhere late last year. The Elvis Merzlikins situation, which is just like that.
That can't end soon enough.
It's not great.
I was such a big Elvis fan. I was like, man, this guy's going to be so good and all that, and just it's between his ears right now. He can't stop anything. Nobody wants that contract, but okay. So you ride with Jet, which is fine. Okay, so here you are. But then I just started looking at guys like Dmitry Voronkov, where I'm like, what happened to him? Mm-hmm. Marchenko was scoring. That's fine. You could tell Monahan was really just kind of thrown off last year with everything, but like even he had some slow stretches like that. And I know Boone was hurt. Branson's been out since October. Like they've had to deal with some injuries and all that. The biggest thing about this team was just the defense, which is like they fired McCarthy too, the assistant coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of all pointed to like we are just trash when it comes to defense. And like there was one specific play, and I like Dante Fabro a lot. And this had to be a month ago. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game. I watch almost every game. And he just had this lazy, clear attempt.
Yeah.
And it got stopped at the middle, like right in center ice. And they just, I can't remember who it was. They turn around in 2 seconds, they score a goal. I about threw my iPad out my window. I was like, that's what you get. I go, that's what you get. When you have a lazy, you know, like there was just so many of those things about just getting caught with your feet not moving, just like the way that hockey is supposed to be played. And I kept coming back and I was like, does Dean Evison rip into these guys? And then it comes out that, you know, he was letting his assistant coaches do a lot of the coaching.
He basically stopped coaching.
Yeah. And it's like,
what's happening?
Yeah.
Like that's how you get fired, right? And I think it's just, it comes back to, somebody posted this. It might have been Jess Sabota or Aaron Portsline. Somebody brought this up about the coaches since Tortorella, right? Where it was like, didn't they go to Larson? That didn't work. I knew that would happen. The Babcock mess, then they hire Pascal Vincent because they just have to hire somebody. Then he doesn't work, and then they go with Evison. I know I'm missing somebody else in there too that I can't think of.
No, I think you got it.
You nailed it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's everybody, right? Like
that was it.
You sit there and you're just like, again, I knew Torts. He you know, we all know he burns out his welcome pretty quick,
right?
And it's crazy that like hockey, for you guys follow the sport too, but it's like, you see these coaches that just nobody sticks at a job. There's guys that win Stanley Cups and 2 years later they're out of a job. Like it's crazy.
But they coach forever. They always get jobs.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you're out. All these guys. You're sitting there, like, man,
AKA Rick Bonus.
Rick Bonus is one of them. I guess Rod Brindamore's kept the job for a little while, but anyway, like, you know, a lot of these guys.
Pete DeBoer.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, I give the Jackets credit because they run the organization like they should be contenders every year. They spend money like they're contenders. They have an amazingly loyal fan base that's down there, and they don't waste it. And I appreciate that. You know, haven't had the results, and I think, like you guys said, the third period, the blown leads, which were just you know, and I know they said that when they came out. They were basically like that January 4th game when it was what, a 2-0 lead, a 4-2 lead, something, and
4-1
of them. Yeah,
4-1.
4-1.
That's right.
I was at that game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's your fault. Great.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like just that kind of stuff. And it's not a talent thing. It's a mentality thing. It's got to be. Like, when you see the talent on this team, it's got to be a mentality thing, and that falls on the head coach. So I appreciate him making the move, like you guys said. Bonus ain't going to be here I think this was get us through this year. We'll kind of reassess at the end of the year because this roster is too good to be as bad as they are. They just, and again, everybody deals with injuries. They went through the injuries. Jet's been playing okay. I hold on to, like, man, if we just had a top, you know, if Bob had never left, but it is what it is. Like, if you just had a top flight goaltender, this team would be a favorite for the Stanley Cup. Like, I'm a big believer in Fantilli and Marchenko. Zach Werenski's one of the best players in the entire league. Like, they got so many pieces. So, you know, I sit here and I'd say, like, I feel bad for Dean Evison. I don't think I actually do. Like, this is just like, dude, what were you doing? How did you let it get this bad? And you know, they're just going to be off to another coaching search, unfortunately.
So much to coaching in hockey is the buy-in, right? Like, I mean, there's only so many systems in hockey. There's only so many, forechecks you can institute. There's only so many, neutral zone traps you can do, right? Like, systems don't change much from coach to coach. So it's just it's mainly about the buy-in, and you could tell, especially as it was getting to midway through the season, that these guys just the frustration was boiling over, and it felt like I know they didn't quit, but like they were making quitting plays, it was but the big surprise was how quickly this was, right? Like, the Blue Jackets fired Dean Evison and Rick Bowness is hired. Like, whoa, well, okay, well, this has been in the works for weeks. Obviously, it's been in the works for quite a bit now. Obviously, if you're going to name a head coach right away.
And I think it's great that, not great, obviously, but it is what it is. Like, there were people that thought they'd wait for the Olympic break to, like, reassess, and it's like, no, do it now, because then you give Bonus time to get his stuff figured out over that break.
Right.
I think Rowensky and Elvis are the only two going, right? Because Elvis is the Latvian goaltender, and then Zach's on Team USA. Like, you're going to have everybody. I'm not saying they're going to be practicing, because obviously there's rules on how much you can do and not, but I appreciated them doing it now, because if you were going to do it in a couple of weeks, you might as well do it now and then give Bonus all that time to try to get this back on the track. Because, Mike, you mentioned it, like, yeah, they're bottom, but, like, you win a decent amount of games over 2 weeks, and you're right back in it. You're right back in a playoff.
Yeah.
Well,
spot.
that's what
Close it is.
that's what Wierenski said. He said this is the time right now. This is our season. These next couple weeks are our season. But I got to tell you, I listen. I was a little, and maybe it's because I'm so attached to these other sports where they just bring in this 70-year-old dude, and I go, what are you doing with Rick Bowness? Why? He's retired. He's done. He's gone. But then I listen to him talk. I listen to him talk about fast offense, and I go, I put out a tweet. I said, Tortorella's rolling in his grave right now. He's not dead. He's not dead, but he's rolling in his grave thinking about fast offense. And then they played that game against Calgary, and I went, wait a minute, because Rick Bowness is going to start doing stuff like this, and I'm going to say, let's keep him for next year, and let's see if this guy can give us a little time. Who was the guy that played a lot of minutes in that game against Calgary and who played a good-ass game? Who's the guy that did it? Chad, who played those minutes and had a good-ass game?
Kent Johnson.
Kent freaking Johnson. Yeah. And I will tell you, I've had a real issue. They've had these top-level draft picks, and when you biffed the Juracek pick and then traded him, and now it looks like the another top-level pick. Juracek was 6. Kent Johnson was 5. You can't biff on back-to-back picks in the top 6. You can't just swing and miss on those. Now, you hit on Fantilli, and it remains to be seen on the more recent guys. But, like, Kent Johnson needs a guy with that philosophy. Come out, play fast. Let's play a little offense. Let's go. I know that it felt like they were this close to, like, all right, let's trade Kent Johnson for a sack of hockey pucks and get out of here. But, like, if you can pull Kent Johnson back, because he's got the talent, he's got the natural ability.
For sure.
If you can pull his ass back in and be like, you are a good-ass NHL hockey player, and you can get him going, that is a difference maker. I don't want to totally overstate it, but I feel like that right there, Fantilli's already good, and Marchenko's already good, and you've got these guys that are already good. But if you can get Kent Johnson, that guy that you selected 5th overall in the draft, to turn into a guy like you selected 5th overall in the draft, like, let's go.
Yeah.
Bonus until he dies, I guess. Let's go.
Well, here's the thing. The other thing with Bowness, though, and I talked about it when I made my video. It's like, if you look at him, the one thing that he's built his reputation on that the Jackets have had so much of a problem with the last few years, he's developed defensemen. He's developed young defensemen. If you look at the list of the guys that he's worked with, man, it's like he's worked with the Charas of the world. He's developed the Josh Morrisseys of the world. He's developed all of those Heiskanen from Dallas, Lindell from Dallas. So, I mean, you let those guys, you let the talent up front, that top 6, play free, and then you develop that young defenseman. Those young defensemen, 1 or 2 years, Rick Bowness could be coaching for 5 more years if he wants to. I mean, you heard him. You heard Don Waddell say, I called him, and it took him about 5 minutes after talking to his wife to say yes. So he wasn't ready to be fully retired from coaching. So you never know.
Yeah, and I think, when he said it, I would have only taken a few jobs, and Columbus was one of them. I think a big reason, obviously, connection to Waddell and all that, but this is a roster that is very intriguing. Like, there's, again, you look at all the young talent there. Like, I know that Matejchuk's hurt, but talk about a defenseman that needs development. You mentioned Johnson, like, he was another guy too, like Voronkov, the same thing. You watched it, you saw pieces, and you're like, what happened this season? Last night in that game where it was like a near side, like right at the goal line, and he just tried to snipe it. And I was like, Kent Johnson's back now. Like, you just didn't see him taking those shots or just trying to put it on net very often. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You have all this talent here. You've got high picks. You brought in Charlie Coyle, which seems to be an amazing addition. Like, Miles Wood, has had some really good streaks there. Like, this roster is not this bad. Like, that's just, and I think that's the number one thing when you sit there and you talk about a coaching change. in any sport, you ask yourself, like, is this roster really what their record is? And with the Jackets, I know I'm a fan and like I'm a homer, like I get it, but there is no way that this team is this bad. There is no way that this team should be that bad. So
No.
got to make the change. And like, yes, I hope Owens figures it out.
Well, and we'll see. Sorry, Chad. Apparently, Chad had a little issue, so he had to go. Matt, I'm going to hold you hostage for a minute while we finish this conversation. Then we'll wrap things up. But you know, I think the hard thing going into this season with the Blue Jackets is all the talk at the end of last season was, man, look at how close they got, and look at the run they went on. I mean that battle between them and Detroit there for a while that culminated in that Stadium Series game. But people forget the game Columbus won in Detroit the night before that game, or a couple nights before the game, whatever it was. And that Stadium Series game, and they were this close, and Montreal just won their last game of the season because who'd they play that last game? Philly? I don't know. Whoever they played just played nobody.
Right. Yeah. It was Philly. You're right. It was the Flyers. I remember that.
Yes, and the Flyers were like, "Oh, we're gonna play our fans."
I think Philly scored first in that game too.
Yes,
we were all
they did.
There watching it, and we're like, okay, are they really going to pull this off? And then you're right, Montreal just throttled them after that. And we're like, well, never mind.
But then we went into this offseason, and you've got Don Waddell, who feels like a pretty aggressive, smart general manager, and you had this inspirational run, obviously post Johnny Gaudreau and Dean Evison seemed to kind of be the man to lead this run, and you've got the most cap space in the NHL, and it's time to go out there and make it happen. And then that's not what happened in the offseason. And they didn't spend a lot of money really at all in the offseason. And I know that irked people. I know that felt like, okay, well, that was the time. But I also, now that I look back on it, hindsight, I do see a little bit of the wisdom from Don Waddell, because I don't think I think you could have spent a lot of money on guys that weren't really going to help you all that much.
Yeah.
I watch the guys that signed elsewhere, and I go, bleh, I'm kind of glad they didn't go after that guy.
I mean, the only thing that I was going to, because everybody got mad about the Provy contract, and they're like, why are you happy? I'm like, I don't know. I think Ivan Provorov is a top 4 defenseman. He's probably a top-line defenseman. So I was fine with that. And then the only thing that I would have liked them to spend money on was goaltending. And it's like, well, how are you going to do that when you already did? And Elvis just kind of went belly up. Like, you have Jet Greaves, who deserves another chance. I think we're all waiting for Fedotov to get called up from Cleveland. But then what do you do with Elvis? You put him on waivers, pass. Would he accept going to Cleveland? I don't know. All that aside. So
no. Goodbye.
I don't think. I think you just put him on I don't even know if they have that in the NHL, the non-revocable waivers, or
right?
Whatever it is. But the thing is, I'm with you, because like, if you were going to spend money, you don't need a top 6 forward. That you're good, like between that. And again, Coyle has been nice, but like, you already paid Sean Monahan. You've got Voronkov, you've got Marchenko, you've got Fantilli. I think Kent Johnson can be a top 6 forward in the NHL. You've got Boone Jenner. Like, you're good, and then you kind of fill in the rest from there, and there's your team. So yeah, and the thing is, I'm probably maybe putting a little more stock in some of those guys than other people would, or telling me like, Kirill Marchenko isn't all that, but like, I think again, they're solid. They're top 4 and they're top 6. Like, I would look at those two groups and say that's a playoff group. And again, you need guys like Matthew Olivier. You need your Cole Sillingers. You need your other guys to kind of fill in and play a certain way on this team. But they've got the top 4 in defense. They've got the top 6. Again, it comes back to goaltending, and I think Jet has shown a lot. And. Could you see yourself getting deep into a playoff run with Jet Greaves? I hope so, because then I think the rest of this team's pretty ready to go if they're in the right mindset and playing the right type of hockey, and all that kind of stuff.
Listen, I think you talk about this year, next year, and you talk about, okay, Jet Greaves needs to be your main dude going into next year. Fedotov needs to be the guy right behind that, and don't forget, they drafted a first-round goalie this year who they are very high on. What's his name? Andreato? I don't remember what his name is, but it is Andreanov, something like that. But They're super high on him, and so I think you got to get out from the Elvis thing, and even if I think Elvis is the stereotypical guy that's going to go somewhere else and be really good.
Sure, yeah.
But it's not happening here. It isn't happening. It is, to bring it into Browns territory. It's Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening here. There were signs, there were flashes, there were moments. There was a season of moments. But ultimately it didn't happen here. And that's what Elvis is. And he's got to go. The guy's got to go. And they have to capitalize on cap space and stuff this offseason. So that is what has to happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, the Jackets I know hockey's a little different when it comes to markets and things like that, but they're not afraid to dole out contracts and high-paying contracts and get players like Johnny Gaudreau here and obviously Sean Monahan to follow and things like that. So, yeah, they got to use it. I think you'll have a better idea about what exactly you are going to be or what you aren't going to be at some positions. Like, Zach Werenski's never going to leave, at least pray God, I hope he never leaves this team. Like, he'll be here. Again, Fantilli's done enough. Maybe an extension even further for him, like Kent Johnson, Marchenko, Voronkov, all those guys. Yeah, it's going to eat up some of your cap, but also I just think without a doubt, like, I keep coming back. Like, Monahan, I think he's a great center. He's awesome in the face-off circle. Like, I just, for some reason, keep looking at, like, just one of those centers that can go out and get you 45 goals in a season.
Yes.
And they don't come available all that often. That's just, I feel like that's so much of what this team is missing. And, again, they don't become available all that often. Sometimes you got to pull a trade off. Maybe you got to, spend a bunch of money. But that just seems to be what we're missing.
Well, the last thing we'll say on this, and then Matt, we'll let you go because, sorry, we held you hostage for like an hour.
Good.
But ultimately, I find myself in this weird. It's called the upside down for fans of Stranger Things. Let's call it the upside down, Matt. I find myself in the upside down because I'm a Browns fan. And I have no problem railing against everything that they do. Because they are the opposite of King Midas. Everything they touch turns to shit, ultimately. And maybe we're figuring out a way out of that. And we'll see. But then there's the Blue Jackets. And I had this like revelation this week. In the wake of another failed coaching hire, which is what, especially if this dude just kind of quit on the team. Mm-hmm. What a failure. Are there any two franchises in sports that are as similar as the Cleveland Browns and the Columbus Blue Jackets? And here's the thing. I want to preface this. People are afraid to say that about the Blue Jackets because we kind of treat them with like kid gloves. A little bit, because they're the professional team. I know they have an MLS team, but they're the big four sports team in Columbus, and there are very few fan bases in the NHL better than Blue Jackets fans. They're like Browns fans. Mm-hmm. They show up every year. They sell out Nationwide Arena constantly. They love the Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets fans are the best. Like Browns fans are the best. But what's the Blue Jackets? Their best season ever. They won a playoff series. That's it. That's the pinnacle. You did it. You won a playoff series. You've never one time since you came into existence in 2000. You never one time competed for a Stanley Cup. Never. You never even come close. Really.
East Conference Finals. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think at least for me, because it's like, again, it's different, like being in Cleveland and kind of getting into the jobs that we have. Like, I have to view the Browns a little differently. I view the Cavs a little bit differently. I view the Guardians a little differently. I even view Ohio State a little bit different. The Blue Jackets are the one team that I can utterly, without question, just be a fan of. And I will never forget their very first game. Like, there's something about, I think another reason why Columbus is so hooked is a lot of the fans can legitimately remember and have been
Right.
fans since day one. Like, I know
Yes.
for a fact, my brother, who's an even bigger Jackets fan than I am, I remember running around the house that day saying, like, the Jackets play their first game tonight. My parents
Yep.
like, yeah, that's great. Like, whatever. My brother's sitting down and watching Lyle Odelein and Jeff Sanderson. Like, you know,
Yes.
I have those memories. So that's why I'll, to your point, like, they're almost like your kids. When they disappoint you, you don't get all that mad. Like,
Yes.
I'm still disappointed. I want them to be so good, but I can't ever be mad at them because they're just like they're my team, you know. And it's like, trust me, I'm with you. I get mad at the Browns, I get mad at the Cavs, I get mad at the Guardians and all that. But it's just there's something different about the Blue Jackets, and you're right.
But-
it's cool because they're the only game in town. It's cool because I go down to Nationwide once a year
Oh.
for the game, and you know all that, and it's fun. So it's just it's a little different. But yeah, I'll never actually hold them as accountable as they deserve to be held accountable.
But I think
for.
we've got to. We have, and I'm
We should.
and so
We need to,
so
right.
you and I are a little different. I have been a hockey fan a while. I was a Penguins fan because we didn't have a team, and I've told people this forever. When people are like, "How could you be a Penguins fan?" I'm like, first of all, shut up. Second of all, when I was growing up, the Lumberjacks were the Penguins farm team. Like, I saw a lot of the dudes I saw play for the Pittsburgh Penguins are guys that I rooted for with the Lumberjacks. I was a Penguins fan. I wasn't I did not transition my fandom, which I did, which was hard to do until we started this show and the Columbus Blue Jackets welcomed us with open arms. Like, whatever you need, we got you. And that is what the Jackets have done. And we have had Rick Nash on this show. We asked for Don Waddell this week, and they responded like, we'll see what we can do. Like, they're just amazing down there. And it has turned me, but it also makes me feel like we got to I don't want to see them start losing attendance. I don't want to see the atmosphere change at Nationwide. It's a beautiful place to watch a game, but we do have to start holding them more accountable as fans and voicing a little bit more frustration in that it's embarrassing to go as long as you've gone without ever really being competitive. Like, it's embarrassing the way it's a totally different situation. The Columbus Blue Jackets entered the league at a time where it was terrible to be an expansion team. They were screwed from the jump. Having said that, I mean, to watch the Vegas Golden Knights come in and win a cup is like,
Right, yeah.
Bro, like, you have to do something.
They knew what they were doing. The NHL knew what they were doing.
Of course they did.
You know, yeah, but and that's the thing that I think the Jackets, like, for a lot of us as the fans, like, like this Evason move kind of does stay. Like, we don't accept it either. Now the problem is, like, that's not a good answer to sit there and be like, well, we don't accept it. Yeah, that's fine. What are you doing to fix it? You can sit there and tell me all day we don't want to be bad and we're not trying to be bad and we're going to try to be good. Okay, that's fine. You can say that, but what are you doing to actually take the steps forward to make this team relevant? And the thing is, outside of, again, like, yeah, some missed draft picks. You mentioned, Urich. You mentioned, Yegor Chinnikov. Like, yeah, you've got to have that from time to time. But they got star players here before. They got Panarin. They got Bob. They got Johnny Gaudreau to come here. Like, I hope that can happen again. And I think hockey is a little bit more like baseball. Not baseball, excuse me, more like football, where, like, they like the turnover. They like a lot of different things to be competitive. And, you got your dynasties, and certainly you have a couple going on right now. But for the most part, you got a lot of teams that can do it quick and turn it around. And I hope the Jackets are one of them. They just got to be smart. They got to spend that money. They got to, again, I hope Jet is the answer. But if he's not, get somebody for sure for the goaltending and just kind of supplement those forward lines a little bit.
All right, listen, Matt Fontana, this has been awesome. I had a whole thing. I had a whole thing. We weren't going to spend an hour on the Browns, and then we did. And I want to get into the Blue Jackets and the fact that the Guardians have done nothing, even though we were told they were going to spend like $35 million this offseason, and that ain't going to happen.
No.
And the Cavs, big win for the Cavs tonight. We're not going to get into all that. We're going to let you go. We're going to let you go get a little sleep. We're going to let you go get ready for your next show, which we will pay attention to. It's the Matt Fontana Show. Follow it on Twitter on Big Play. Matt, man, it's so good to have you as a friend of the show. And it's so good to have you as somebody that talks all things Cleveland sports, but also Blue Jackets. We know when we need somebody like that, we're going to reach out, and it's always fun catching up with you over a beer here.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. And when the Jackets make the playoffs, that'll be the next time. All right, that'll be, well, hopefully not that long, but some good news, some good days are ahead for the Jackets.
Oh, was that a threat, Matt? Was that a threat? Hey, next time I'll talk to you is when the Jackets make the playoff.
Hopefully
you guys.
Sooner. Well, it's, they're thinking about all the things like the Browns, all the interesting things, right? Guardians won't sign any free agents. Cavs will probably get more injured. Browns coach draft and Ohio State NIL portal, and then the Jackets playoffs and all that. So it'll be a fun time.
Sports is fun, Matt. Sports is fun. I'm having fun with all this. No, listen, Matt, you're the best. Appreciate you, man. Go have a good night, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Mike.
Big shout out to Matt Fontana. And now I hate this. I hate this forever. It's my face alone on a screen. So we're going to end the show, episode 297. Ignore the stupid title that I typed in because I was rushing. We're going to ignore it. Listen, asshole of the week. We didn't do it tonight. And maybe let's just leave it like that. Let's be positive tonight. Cheer of the week, all of you guys that joined us tonight. Normally, I got to tell you, and we know this, we're on the OBR. We are on one of the oldest Browns coverage sites in all of Cleveland. And I know, Chris, what in the heck happened to Chad? Chad got disconnected. And then he said, I actually have to go. I can't connect back in. And I said, cool, Chad, no big deal. And I'll handle it. So sorry, Chad couldn't be here. But normally, as I watch our numbers, which we don't really listen, the numbers aren't the most important thing. But normally when we talk Browns, our numbers spike. And then when we start talking Cavs, and we know that we're on the OBR, it's a Browns coverage site. But when we start talking Blue Jacket stuff, our numbers drop. Our numbers rose tonight when we started talking about the Blue Jackets, which was really fun to watch. So we appreciate that. We appreciate you guys being here. Last thing I'm going to do is just our thank yous before we get out of here. And we do this on all the shows. Big thank you to the OBR for hosting us. Get over to the OBR.com, hit subscribe, and make sure you're tuned into everything going on. OBR wise, we're going to have you covered when it comes to the new Browns coach and the offseason and free agency and the draft and all that. So make sure you're tuned into everything OBR. Big thank you to our special guest tonight, Matt Fontana. He just left. Oh, look at this. This is such a good comment. Big fun memories of Crusaders games with your dad. Let's go, Phil. Every once in a while, I'll see a Crusaders jersey floating out there. It's awesome. Awesome. Big thanks to Matt Fontana from Big Play, from the Matt Fontana Show. Matt's a good dude, man. And again, truly, we like to talk about all of our teams, the Buckeyes and the Jackets included. Not a lot of people like to do that. Matt's one of the few, so we loved having him on for this one tonight. But our biggest thank you goes out to all of you, everybody that joined us. The comments were going crazy all night. And if you couldn't make it with us live tonight, but you catch us either later on demand on YouTube, on Twitch, or wherever you pick up your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, we're on all of them. Get over to the Garage Beers. Make sure you hit follow, hit subscribe. Tell people that you like this show and that they should also check it out. They can do it. It's free. They can just check it out on all the podcast platforms, on YouTube, on Twitch. Tell them to come hang out with us, having beers, talking sports. What better? What better is there than that? So make sure you pass the word around. But big thank you to everybody that joined us and watched us for episode 297. That's going to do it for us. Joey wasn't here, but I'll give him a shout out. Look at Sean says, thanks for wrapping up the show, Mike. Appreciate you. Chad, total asshole. Total asshole. Go follow the show at the Garage Beers. For Joey, who couldn't be here tonight, but he'll be here next week at Garage Beers. Joe, for Chad, who was here kind of tonight, but then he left, but he won't be here next week at Garage Beers. Chad, I'm Michael Keefe. I'm here every week because this is what we do. Go follow me at Garage Beers. Mike, go follow the show at the Garage Beers. That's going to do it for us. And we will talk to you next week. Until then, as always, cheers, everybody.